Hi guys, today we're going to do a quick refresher on how to use a micropipette. Since you would have already read the lab before coming in, you would have an idea of the volumes of liquid that you will be dispensing throughout the lab. It is very important to pick the appropriate micropipette to dispense the correct volumes. In this lab, we have three different micropipettes. The first is a P1000. The second is a P200 and the third is a P20. So here are the three micropipettes. We have the P20 that goes from 2 to 20 microliters, the P200 that goes from 20 to 200 microliters, and the P1000 that goes from 100 to 1000 microliters. As you will notice that there is some overlap in the volumes that micropipettes can dispense. And so for example, if I had to dispense 200 microliters of liquid, I would pick the P200 because it is in the upper range and so there is less error and the volume dispensed is more accurate. Once you've picked out the appropriate micropipettes, the next step is to select the tips that go with the micropipettes. In this lab, the blue tips are for the P1000 and the yellow tips are for P20 and P200. Today we will be using the P1000 micropipette, and so I'm going to use the blue tips. While you have a clean pair of gloves on, make sure you have enough tips to fill up your box. To do this, with clean gloves, you can grab some tips and fill it into a beaker, which you will then use to fill up your pipette box. Now that you've selected your micropipette, make sure to fill up your tip box with the corresponding tips. Also make sure to have a waste beaker to put your dirty tips in. This is how to properly operate a micropipette. First, you need to draw up the liquid. To do this, go down to the first stop and now to dispense the liquid, again you need to push down to the first stop, and in order to get all of the liquid out, push down to the second stop. Once you're done dispensing the liquid, you now have to eject the tip. To do this, press the eject button. To use the micropipette, you first have to know how to properly read the volumes. This is a P1000 and it reads 990 microliters. If you need 1000 microliters, turn the dial so that it reads 1000 microliters. This is a P200, and in order to use this, you have to realize that there is a decimal place involved. In this case, the microliter now reads 198.0. To move it up to 200, again turn the dial so that it reads 200.0. In the case of the P20, this micropipette now reads 19.84 microliters. Again, to bring it up to its maximum volume of 20 microliters, turn the dial so that it reads 20.00. Before beginning your experiment, it is important to do a leak test with the micropipettes that you have selected. To do this, you first need to set the volume to the maximum volume of the micropipette. Today we are going to use a P1000. So in this case, we will set the volume to 1000 microliters. The next step is to grab a micropipette tip. To do this, insert the micropipette into a tip, push down and turn And now you can withdraw some liquid in order to do the leak test. To do this, again, push down to the first stop, withdraw the liquid, and make sure that the micropipette does not leak. To get rid of this liquid, dispense it into a liquid waste beaker, again by pushing down to the first stop and then to the second stop. You can now eject the tip in your tip waste beaker. When dispensing the same solution into several test tubes, first dispense the liquid into the first test tube, and now move the test tube to a different part of the test tube rack. You can now use the same micropipette tip to dispense the solution into the next test tube as long as there is no chance of contamination and you are not dispensing a different liquid. Remember guys, safety first. Don't forget your goggles, lab coat, gloves, proper footwear. Common sense might be a good asset too. Before coming into lab, make sure you read your lab. And when in doubt, always consult your TA. See you next time.